Subaru Canada's invited me on a 3-day road trip through British Columbia with two of their most popular cars, the WRX sedan and the BRZ sports car. This video's all about the BRZ. Okay, I kind of waited until the end of the second day to give you my driving impressions of this BRZ, because leaving Vancouver and heading up past Whistler, you're going up on highways through some pretty steep parts of the road, and this car at times can feel a little bit underpowered, especially when you're trying to pass on the highway. But when you get it out of a situation like that and into these mountainous roads where you can really utilize all of the expertise that went into the platform, the car transforms. It just becomes alive. And you basically drive the car with the revs between 4,000 and 6,000 RPM. Below 4,000 RPM, the car feels like it doesn't really come on the can yet, and above 4,000 RPM is where the horsepower and the torque just flattens right out. So if you can keep it in that band of power when you're driving on twisty mountain roads like I am now, you can flog this thing and just have oh so much fun. There are some drawbacks to this car. One of them, you can hear, it's not a quiet car. It is not a car that you're going to take out and sort of just cruise along effortlessly. It's a car that's engaging. The better a driver you are, the more fun you will have in a BRZ. It's not a point and squirt car. And by that I mean a car you just go around a corner, you hammer on the throttle, there's all kinds of horsepower, and you just take off. It's a car that rewards a good driver, and the more you drive it, the more you learn all the idiosyncrasies. For the first sort of day or so, I was thinking, what's with this car? I can't figure it out. And then I hit that moment where I figured out where I needed to have the revs, how I needed to balance and unbalance the car in the corners. And one big difference was turning the vehicle stability control sport program on. That opens up the parameters of the stability and traction control, lets the car rotate just a little bit, but the fun factor goes way up. It's still very safe, and the car is still going to catch you as best it can in those situations where you're sliding, but oh so much fun. Okay, I'm just going to pull off the road here for a second to talk a little bit about the ergonomics of this car. It is a driver-oriented cockpit. You know, you can sit as close to the wheel as you want. I like sitting a little bit closer. The way the shifter works and everything is really good. Now, on the downside, there's no armrest here, and when you spend time in the passenger seat, when you place your left arm, you rest it on the center console here. That's kind of hard and sharp, and after a while, all you needed to do was put a little piece of padding along there. That would have made a huge difference. Same thing, the problem I have with the WRX I have with this BRZ is so busy. It's got so many little dots and markers on it. You know, Porsche, they do like 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 120 kilometers, whatever it is. They're just big numbers, kind of the way they have it with the TAC. You don't need all these little micro hash marks on the Speedo. It just seems really quite cluttered. Other than that, you know, it's a simple, inexpensive, sporty car. So they've updated it with a few pieces like the, you know, the carbon fiber look, and that's all welcome. But it's a simple, down-to-earth, honest car, and for that, it does a fantastic job. So let's head out. Now we're on a little bit of gravel, and it was surprising when they had this event plan that they said we're going to do some gravel roads in a BRZ, and you would think that's WRX territory. But this car did remarkably well. When you get a little bit sideways in it, the stability and the contraction control can be a little bit oppressive, but other than that, it's a lot of fun. Same thing again, if you're a better driver, the car will reward you. If you want the car to do all the work for you, as they say, point and squirt, that's not the car for you. You want to be somebody that likes to drive and likes to learn the characteristics of a car. And that's what's nice about this car. The more you own it, the more you learn about it, and you're not going to get bored of it in a hurry. You're always going to get surprised by new little facets of the way it drives the longer you own it. Now with 200 horsepower and 151 foot-pounds of torque, there's a lot of people, including me when I first drove this car, that thought, you know, they could use the technology that Subaru has, turbocharging this car using a larger engine, getting more horsepower out of it. And you know what, that's always going to be welcome for die-hard enthusiasts. But this car is kind of like the Miata in that way. It's all about the power to weight ratio and rewarding the driver. And the more I drive this car with 200 horsepower and 151 foot-pounds of torque, there is something about what they've come up with here that is just about right. There's a part of my brain that says more power, but there's a part of my brain that says they kind of got it right on this too. Well, this is the end of 3 days and about 1,200 kilometers with both the WRX four-door sedan and this BRZ Sport Coupe. And they've been a lot of fun to drive, and they're very different cars. So I encourage you, once you've watched this video, to go and click on the WRX that we did in the same area, because they're very different. The BRZ would probably not be my choice of the two cars. I think the WRX is much more practical. This is a car, though, that has a lot of personality, and the more you drive it, the more you get to know it, the more you invest in it in terms of time and skill, it rewards you on a very different level than the WRX. It's great that there are cars like this available for people to actually drive these days, hammering them through the countryside, not really thinking about anything other than enjoying the drive, reliable, fun, practical, even fuel efficient. BRZ, very different, but a lot of fun.